This is how to play You Build Monopoly. If you enjoy the original game of Monopoly, but hate the super long games, this could be the solution for you. You Build Monopoly is a tabletop game that's made for 2 to 6 players, ages 8 and up, and the games run 30 to 90 minutes depending on which version you choose to play. You're able to build the board that you want by using these hexes that snap together to create different boards. Here's an example of what a beginner board would look like. Each hexagon is called a district, and these little green residential buildings are like the houses from the original version. Then you have the gray industrial buildings that look like this. And of course, the game comes with Monopoly money in these denominations. The game also comes with chance cards, property cards, dice, and game pieces. Some of the hexes have bridges on them that open and close, and I'll explain more about that later. There's only one stadium piece in the entire game. Although it looks very much like the bonus buildings, they are not the same thing. The orange hexes that look like this are called hazards. And then there are 4 skyscraper pieces, but the tallest one is the Monopoly Tower. To start the game, all the game pieces are placed on go and the first player rolls the dice. In this case, he rolls a 5, so his game piece moves 5 spaces. He landed on Bayview Dock, which is an unowned district, so he has the option to purchase it for the price listed on the hex, or to put it up for auction, and then all players get a chance to bid on that district. Unlike in the original game, a player can start building on a district once they purchase it, even if they don't own all the other colors in the same district. In a single turn, a player is allowed to purchase up to 3 blocks to place on a single district. However, a district can hold up to 8 total blocks. As in the original game, if a player rolls doubles 3 times in a row, they go directly to jail. To get out of jail, the player can either pay 500,000 Monopoly bucks on their next turn, or they could try to roll doubles in one of their next 3 turns to get out for free. But after 3 tries, if they're not successful, they'll have to pay the money to get out of jail. If a player lands on a district owned by another player, they have to pay the rent as listed on the card. If that player does not have enough money to pay the rent, they could mortgage one of their districts by flipping the property card over. The mortgage value is equal to the district's current rent value, not including skyscrapers or the Monopoly Tower if that player owns them. The residential and industrial blocks remain on the district even if it's mortgaged. If a player lands on a planning permission, they have the option to build a hazard or bonus building, or they can move a hazard up to 2 spaces. When a hazard is placed, all of the residential buildings on hexes touching that hazard immediately become worthless and no longer count toward rent value. However, when bonus buildings are placed, they protect the value of the buildings on those districts. A bonus building and a hazard can never be placed touching the same district. Bonus buildings and hazards impact all hexes that they touch, even if different players own those districts. A player can also always choose to just pay $1 million Monopoly bucks or $2 million to move a hazard 1 or 2 spaces, even if they don't land on a planning permission. If a player passes a bridge on their turn and it's up, they have to pay $1 million Monopoly bucks to the bank and then close the bridge to pass it. If it's down, they get to pass it for free. If a player lands directly on a bridge, they follow those same rules, however they also get to take a chance card. The game ends when the first player goes bankrupt. The player with the most money and assets wins the game. For a more advanced game, use a larger board like this one. And in addition to residential blocks, you'll also use industrial blocks, which are safe from hazards, but cost more money to build. And players are not allowed to build industrial and residential buildings on the same turn. It's also important to remember that a district can hold a maximum of 8 buildings. Once you build a residential home, it can never be removed, so it can't be replaced with an industrial building. Once a player owns 2 districts of the same color, they could purchase the stadium. There's only 1 stadium in the entire game, so you have to be quick. And the player who owns the stadium collects 3 million Monopoly bucks every time they pass go, instead of 2 million. Or the player can choose to purchase one of the standard skyscrapers and place it next to their district. Now all the districts in that color group are doubled in rent value. Once a player owns all the districts in 2 different color groups, they're able to buy the Monopoly Tower. Once the Monopoly Tower is placed, the rent value of every district owned by that player is doubled. Unlike hazards and bonus buildings, if a skyscraper touches somebody else's district, they do not receive the benefits. And that's how to play You Build Monopoly. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and write a comment to help us grow this channel.